Cochlear implants are new on the news. Approximately 219,000 people have gone through the worst in their lives and had a life-changing operation and received cochlear implants. As some people may wonder, what is a cochlear implant? I'm here at Berwick Academy where one 15-year-old student had a cochlear implant for 5 years. Heather Stone was born profoundly deaf and spent 10 years working hard with a pair of hearing aids until she was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change her life for the better. Hi Heather.
Hi Janelle.
Now, you had a cochlear implant for how long?
I've had it for about 5 years.
So, what do you think about it? How has it changed your life?
Well, it's changed my life massively. I've had it since I was about 10 years old, and I didn't really understand the whole concept, but my mum made me do it, and I thank her for it basically, because it's just basically, I've heard things I never heard before, like I can listen on the telephone, I can hear the traffic lights, and just simple little things, and just make a difference.
So have you formed any new hobbies since you've had it?
Well, I'm a really keen dancer now, and obviously I wouldn't have been able to have done it very well, like if I couldn't hear the music, but now I can, so it's very good. And I play a lot of PE sports, and it's just, without the implant I basically wouldn't have been able to do them, so.
Wow, that sounds very good. Are there any regrets? Any problems since you had the cochlear implant?
Well, it was hard at first, and it was difficult, to basically learn how to hear again, but I would never regret it, and it was just, it's changed my life, so I'll always be thankful for that.
So was there any point where you thought, I can't do that because I've got a cochlear implant?
No, I don't know. I think sometimes I felt like when I first got the cochlear implant, I felt like because it wasn't as well as I thought it was going to be, because they told me that it was going to be amazing, and it wasn't going as well at the start because I didn't realise how hard work it was. But I did think that I can't do this, and I thought it would not really do anything. And then as the time went by and I kept working, it just totally I'm so thankful for it.
I see. How would you recommend this to other people who are at need of this implant?
I would totally recommend it, and it may be a bit scary at first, but it's just it totally changes your life, and it may be really scary, the whole operation. I admit I was terrified, but it's totally worth it, and it will change your life, so you might as well try it and see what happens, because it will be good.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. Best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
Okay, well, cochlear implants have been around for quite a long time now. I believe the first experiments were in France in about the 1950s, so that's quite a few years now, isn't it? 62 years. And but the first children were implanted in this country about 23, 24 years ago. I believe Nottingham was the first centre. The thing, I suppose, hearing aids they've really performed a very important function, and they've got better over the years. But what they do is they take the acoustic signal and they make it louder as it passes through the ear. If there's damage to the cochlea, damage to the hair cells in the cochlea, then even the best hearing aids won't enable the hearing aid wearer to hear some of the frequencies, whereas a cochlear implant bypasses that process and sends electrical impulses straight to the auditory nerve and to the brain. So that it means that the wearer can actually perceive sounds right across the whole range of frequencies. So that's probably the biggest difference between the two. Cochlear implant wearers, people who've had that operation, they tell us that the sounds are quite robotic at first, but over time they do get used to that sound and can make fantastic use of the piece of equipment. Right, well, I think the thing to say about Heather is that when she was first diagnosed, she had a severe hearing loss, and we got hearing aids on her pretty quickly, and she made really good use of those hearing aids. So she developed excellent speech and language. As a little girl, she was doing really, really well. When she moved up to middle school, her hearing loss actually turned out to be progressive. So she became deafer over time. And then that did create problems. And both at home and at school, we started to notice that her speech was deteriorating slightly. So at that time, we started looking into change in hearing aid. And then it was suggested that her family look into a cochlear implant. Obviously, there were a lot of assessments following that, and it was decided that she would be a good candidate to have a cochlear implant. And yes, it did make a huge difference. It made listening so much easier for Heather, and her speech returned to that really good quality speech that she'd had before. So it was a very good step forward. And actually, since then, she's now starting to use a telephone and things like that, which she never dreamt of being able to do when she was a hearing aid user. I would certainly recommend anyone that has more than a moderate hearing loss, if they have a severe to profound hearing loss, that it is worth looking into it. Obviously, nobody would want to go through major surgery, such as for a cochlear implant, if they didn't need it. But if it was felt, and there is a battery of tests to be got through before anyone would even say you could be considered for one. If that had been gone through and it was felt that you could benefit from a cochlear implant, then I would certainly encourage anyone to consider it and to think about, the advantages that are possible, the potential that's there. Obviously, it always has to be weighed up because there can be certain risks involved with any surgery, so you'd need to really think about all of that. But from what I've seen of the children in Northumberland who've received cochlear implants, for the majority of them, it really has been a very smooth passage with a good amount of time spent on rehabilitation. And it's important to remember that it's not, and you know this, it's not an immediate switch on. There's a lot of work in listening and then fine-tuning those listening skills. So everybody has to work very hard. But at the end of the day, the results are amazing and certainly worth considering that, yes.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you very much.
What you have seen from today is a student who has claimed that a cochlear implant has changed her life. We will now be looking at the positive and negative of a cochlear implant. They may give an opportunity to use a regular telephone a lot easier than hearing aids. They avoid problems of acoustic feedback and ear mode issues, and they are a life-changing technology for those who otherwise might not hear and those who would have to struggle in order to hear. Distant hearing is likely better than hearing aids, whereas if you think of its advantages, they include batteries have a dramatically shorter lifespan than they do in hearing aid batteries. This can be very inconvenient and more expensive. Loud buzzing sound may be caused when a cochlear implant user is close to the neon lights, which may interfere with speech signal. Cochlear implant may restrict you from doing sports such as rugby, scuba diving, football, or even jumping in a trampoline. It's up to you to decide now whether a cochlear implant are good for you or your child, but as one of the users said, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Take it.